What's up, everyone? Adventures in Bitcoin here. I realize it's been a while since I've done a video. I was looking at my last video here, and it was actually Memorial Day, so it's been quite some time. The reason really is that the plan hasn't changed. The general direction of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is down. I talked about it in this video here on Memorial Day. I said I drew this blue line. I said it was gonna, if it breaks this triangle, it's gonna continue down to this trend line here, and that the RSI needs to come down into oversold levels for the price to really turn around and bounce with strength, and that's pretty much what we're seeing right now. If we switch to current view of trade view, you can see it started to break through. This is when I really started to get pessimistic, when I saw it break through this line here. It tried to get above it, it just couldn't. There's just too much negative pressure, and it fell. So why is it coming down? Well, first of all, if you I did a video a while back on Hyperwave. I've been following these guys. They have a channel, check it out. Ty and Leah do a great job of taking a look at the markets and Bitcoin specifically. And they look at it at a macro level. And Hyperwave, if you search intro to hyperwaves, you'll see my video on it. I talk about it towards the end of the video. But it's a market cycle that runs in 7 legs. And in order for the cycle to complete, the 7 leg has got to come all the way down, back to when it first started, the first launch, for it to be considered a hyperwave. And hyperwaves usually last many years. Bitcoin did this in less than a year. If we look at the price, you can see all the legs coming into play here, this fake out here, and then back down, but it never quite came down all the way. So we may see it come down to this 2 leg and bounce, but there is a possibility that it's going to keep going down, a very good possibility. So technically, the numbers, that's what the numbers are telling us. Now the reasons for it is going to be different, right? Because it could be this reason, it could be that reason. It doesn't matter. It's just we know that it's going to come down, or we have a very good hunch that it's going to come down. It just so happens the reasons, in my opinion, for the price to drop as much as it did is mainly regulation. Talks of regulation from the US government and other governments like Germany, Korea, Japan, that they are actually not just talking about regulation, they're actually putting it into action. The US is going after some exchanges, trying to get a hold of their records to find out who's been responsible for the manipulation, because we know the crypto markets and the exchanges are very manipulated by the whales. The whales that are kind of playing dirty like that are seeing this and withdrawing their money from the exchanges. So that's contributing to the price falling. There's also a lot of people that were holding, that made money way back here, that the prices now are getting to the point where it's not worth it for them to hold anymore. So those guys are getting shook out. And as far as the SEC is concerned, if you live in America, they were very clear that the only cryptocurrency that they see as legal is Bitcoin. They're looking at Bitcoin as a replacement for fiat. So instead of, let's say, taking your hard-earned money that you earn from your job and depositing it into a bank account that you have access to, you can change it to Bitcoin, and you become the bank in that regard. You become responsible for managing your money in a digital form. So that's how they're viewing it. Everything else they are considering illegal, especially if there was an ICO involved. They're looking at it as a unlicensed security, and that's an important distinction. And they're painting all the cryptos with a broad brush, which is drawing a lot of criticisms because they're not all the same. So it's really not fair. So there'll probably be a lot of pushback, and they'll have to concede that some cryptos are similar to Bitcoin in that regard, and they're not investments like a security would be. Anything that promises a return on your investment. You invest in my company, and we're gonna give you a share in the profits. That would be considered a security. They're also going after tokens, because tokens are also considered a security. There goes your smart contracts in the smart contract games. Now, a token that has a utility is a utility, as long as it doesn't promise a rate of return on your investment. You can look at tokens as the tokens you get when you go to Chuck E. Cheese. I know everyone jokes about Chuck E. Cheese and tokens, but in reality, that's a great way to look at it. You go in there, you give them your hard-earned dollars. They give you tokens that are only usable at that store. You can only use them at Chuck E. Cheese. You can't take them out. So that token has a utility. You're not going to get any more or any less for what you were given in dollars or whatever fiat you're dealing with. So that would be a token. As soon as a token promises a return, then it's considered a security. And the government doesn't like that. They're going to want to regulate it. So, knowing this, we have to always think ahead of the curve, right? We want to be ahead of all this. So, if we know that regulation is coming and is inevitable, there's nothing we can do about it, then we have to start to shift our mindset, from looking at crypto as the Wild West as it was in, before 2017 and before 2018. Stop looking at it as a get-rich-quick scheme, and start looking at it as a legitimate asset class, kind of like your stocks, your tech stocks, pharmaceuticals, energy, because that's the direction it's going. The millennials are already starting to gravitate towards trading cryptocurrencies and investing in cryptocurrencies more so than the stock market, the traditional stock market. We're seeing that more and more. And we also should start staying away from the scammier type investments. Your lending platforms like BitConnect. Arbitraging is another one that's very BitConnect like. Anything that you give them your cryptocurrency to hold on to and they promise a certain rate of return, the government's going to go after these guys first. The days of doing whatever we want is coming to an end, and the sooner we realize that, the better, I think. The IMF chief said recently that the global economic outlook is not good, and actually showed optimism towards cryptocurrency. If you've been paying attention to the news, G7 summit is not going well. Trump and the other countries can't seem to agree on a fair trade agreement that will make everybody happy. So that spells bad news for the financial world in general. We're not seeing, usually when there's negative news about the economy, we'll see a little spike in crypto. We're not seeing that. And again, due to the regulation and the sentiment that the investors feel right now about Bitcoin, everyone feels like even the biggest bulls are starting to get bearish here. Ethereum Classic had a nice little pump, but it was short-lived. This was based on the news that Coinbase was going to list it as one of the cryptocurrencies, one of the few cryptocurrencies it offers. And the question really is, why not Ripple? Why ETC? It doesn't make sense. A lot of people are questioning that. You can tell by these tweets here. ETC, really? This is the Dead Sea, the saltiest place on Earth, second only to the XRP community after Coinbase decided to add ETC. It makes sense that Coinbase would want to list Ripple. Whether you like it or not, it is here to stay, and the banks are going to be using it. So, and Coinbase is hand in hand with the banks and the governments for the most part. So it kind of makes sense. So I'm not sure what's going on, why they won't list Ripple. If there was a leak last year that they were going to list it, and it turned out not to be true, and the Ripple price pumped, and then it quickly dumped. A lot of people lost money on that fiasco. So with that being said, with knowing that regulations are coming down and coming down hard, you want to make sure that your portfolio has Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe some Ripple, because these guys are always going to maintain the top 3 positions in CoinMarketCap, and the rest will be up for grabs. These guys will be duking it out for position. You can pick your favorite projects, but we don't know what's going to come down as far as regulation and what we're going to be able to invest in, especially if you're in the US. So if you stick with the top 25, if not the top 10, that would be, I think, the safest play. And stay away from the scammier type investments that promise a return on investment for locking your crypto away. The only passive income that I really like the staking coins. It's like, to me, I look at it as farming, where you buy the seeds, you plant the seeds, and then you wait for your crops to rise, and then you harvest those crops and then put them on the market and sell them for the fair price. So that's how I look at staking. The thing is, you got to find a coin like Monkcoin here. I'm a big fan of Monkcoin, that's gonna maintain its value, right? And at the same time offer a decent amount of stake rewards. And the stake rewards on Monkcoin is really good, really good. I only have I forget how much I have exactly, but I invested about $200 worth, and I get about in the past 3 months, I would say I've gotten 20 coins staked. So 20 free coins. At the current price is about $3. It's $2.61, but it hits $3 a lot. So I look at $3 as sort of the price, if you will, for Monkcoin. So I can put it on the exchange for $3 and let it sit there, and eventually it'll get filled. So that's not a bad rate of return, not bad at all. And the price is pretty stable. And this is all while, I mean, look at this. If we go for the past, we'll do the month of June here, right? Fluctuating between 260 and 320 for the month of June. And all the while Bitcoin was coming down and cryptos were coming down. And what I like about it is you don't have to tie it up. If at any time you feel like you need this money, you can sell it at any time. They have a great community on Discord that will help you with technical issues setting up the wallets. Masternodes are actually coming in a few days. We go over to the site. People who own a masternode actually get better preferential treatment, so you'll get your stakes more frequently if you have a masternode. It is a significant investment, not quite as much as other cryptocurrencies like Dash. It's, I want to say, a couple of $1,000s, maybe $5,000 to get a masternode. Still not bad. You can actually start out with the regular wallet and staking, and if you decide to get a masternode, you can upgrade it without having to do any extremely difficult technical things like combine your coins or transfer your coins. You just do the upgrade to the masternode, and supposedly it just works right off the bat. No referral programs. I get no incentive for talking about Monkcoin. Only the fact that I like it and I want to share it with you guys. So that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about. I'm completely out of the smart contract games. I don't feel like they are worth the reward. I'm glad I played and checked them out and see what they were about. I learned a lot, but they were just not profitable. Not profitable for me. So that's it. Speaking of being profitable, stay profitable, my friends, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.